A lot of people ask, when they talk about waterfowlers in general, and they talk about passion, you know, where do you get that passion? Where does it come from? It's hard to explain. In many instances, I can't put it in any other words to say than sometimes it's in your DNA.
It's hard to say where that comes from. It's kind of it's almost a vocational calling, I think, for a lot of us. It's driven by passion for natural resources. Not something I can easily explain, but it is definitely something that is just a really part of my life.
Growing up, I knew I wanted to be a waterfowl biologist. I just always had this intrinsic pull to waterfowl. I knew that I needed to spend time in a wildlife profession, so I went to school and got my bachelor's in forestry and wildlife at Virginia Tech. I got accepted into Auburn's master program under the direction of Dr. Gary Hepp. Graduated from Auburn with a waterfowl ecology degree, and so in 1998, Tom Mormon hired me as an intern in Ducks Unlimited, and I've never looked back. That's the only job I've ever known, the only organization I've ever worked for is with Ducks Unlimited, going on 20 years. And I can without a doubt say that this organization, the people, is really what makes it so special.
I went to work for Ducks Unlimited in 1981 as a regional director. Worked in Mississippi for 10 years, and then they opened the Southern Regional Office in Jackson in 1990. And in a way, I was very active in developing programs. Over time, we had the first private lands program, and I have a strong desire for contributing to greater good. And most conservation-driven people are. And you want to, you spend a career trying to make it better for the next generation, or ensure that the next generation are going to be able to enjoy some of the scenes like we were able to enjoy this morning.
I grew up in Ohio, a little farm town called Minster, and being in rural Ohio, it was a pretty natural thing to trap, fish, and hunt. And then I was about 15, my cousin, who's essentially we're close as brothers, introduced me to duck hunting. And man, it was pretty much game on after that. I fell in love with it, still love it today, and actually led me to my career choice to become a wildlife biologist and do research on waterfowl. So those were pretty important formative years for me and have led me to a really, really great career. You think about the flights of birds we were seeing, and yeah, we shot a few, but how many thousands of birds are sitting out on Bailey that are going to go back to the prairies? They're going to leave here, as I like to say, fat and happy all winter, and then they go back and produce that next generation of birds. And that's really what this whole conservation enterprise is about. And so that's where, you know, hunters have always been the premier conservationists.
Well, leaving a legacy is important to me. You know, I spend a lot of time thinking about what can my impact be, or how can I help this organization propel its mission. And we do that year round. You know, we're raising critical funds to put on the ground for conservation. Yes, it's a job, it's also a passion. It's a passion for me. I want to leave a legacy for my child so that when they grow up in 20 years, they're going to be able to experience some of these great sights of waterfowl that we got to see these last few days. You know, you're just in awe. You know, you're just inspired to do what we do from a conservation perspective to see that. It made a special moment in my heart. You know, just feeling good about the habitat that we put on the ground is impacting birds at that level. It's just pretty special.
If it weren't for private landowners and doing what they do, you know, the birds that we're seeing, the birds we saw on these hunts, they wouldn't be here. I mean, there would be dry fields out there. And these guys have taken this place and turned it into a premier waterfowl habitat.
We spent a lot of time and effort managing this piece of property for ducks. It's a wonderful place to spend time with family, with your kids, to enjoy a great hunt, to enjoy some wonderful dog work, but more importantly, passing on the legacy of waterfowl hunting to those kids and future generations is what each one of us in this club is all about. We have some cherished waterfowl hunts, but we spend a lot of time and effort really managing for ducks. And not only just during the hunting season, but at a critical stage after the duck season. It means a lot to me that this organization invests so much into delivering conservation. 250,000 acres a year, sponsored by 4,500 events with 55,000 volunteers. And this organization lives and breathes conservation, and that means a lot to me.